Good morning, Danny, Kenzie, Judah, Nathan, Honor, and Michael. My name is Uncle Greg, otherwise known as UG, and this is a story about a train called Huffy Puffy. One morning, as Huffy Puffy was taking the mums and dads to work and the children to school, and had just gone down the hill across the bridge and through the two big trees, one on the right and one on the left, he saw a very strange sight. Coming toward him on the tracks was something green. It was big. In fact, Huffy Puffy had never seen anything quite as big, except maybe the station house where he lived. No, this was even bigger than his house. What could it be? As the large green thing came closer, Huffy Puffy could see it was a train, just like him. This train was green and very big. Huffy Puffy didn't get to see many other trains. In fact, as far as he could remember, this was the first train he had ever seen. He knew he wasn't the only train because his best friend, Bill Muckaplan, had told him stories and shown him a book about trains that had pictures of trains. But this was the first time Huffy Puffy had seen a real train. It was enormous. Huffy Puffy was so excited. As the train grew closer, Huffy Puffy noticed two things. The first thing was that this train had a lot of carriages. In fact, the line of carriages went further than Huffy Puffy could see. No wonder this green train was so big. He had a lot of carriages to pull. The other thing Huffy Puffy noticed was that the green train was not smiling, as Huffy Puffy was. In fact, he looked quite grumpy. As the green train drew closer, Huffy Puffy called out, "Good morning," in a cheerful voice. "Get out of the way," came the gruff and grumpy reply. Huffy Puffy was so shocked at the answer. How rude, he thought to himself, his usual smile disappearing. "My name is Grumpy McGrump, and I'm a very important train, and you are in my way," continued the gruff voice. Very rude, thought Huffy Puffy. But never mind. Perhaps he's having a hard day. "Oh, I'm sorry," replied Huffy Puffy, squeezing himself to the edge of his tracks as best he could. The big green train gave a huge blast of his train whistle and rumbled on past. As Huffy Puffy waited for Grumpy McGrump to pass, Huffy Puffy looked at the carriages Grumpy McGrump was pulling. And here's a picture of Grumpy McGrump. As you can see, he's not smiling, but he's a huge big train. He's not smiling like Huffy Puffy does, very rude. And here, no, we'll come to that in a minute, the carriages. Where was I? There were so many of them, Huffy Puffy could hardly count them all. As he watched, Huffy Puffy realized that these were no ordinary carriages. They were all painted in bright colors with pictures of all sorts of animals, balloons, popcorn, and strange-looking people with funny hats, huge shoes, and big red noses on them. Huffy Puffy nearly burst out laughing. What strange carriages! As he watched, Huffy Puffy thought he saw a long, grey pipe sticking out of one of the windows. "Hey!" called Bill. "Hey, that's an elephant, and there's a giraffe." Before Huffy Puffy could ask what a giraffe was, he saw an animal with the longest neck he had ever seen. It seemed to reach all the way to the top of the sky. Huffy Puffy stared and stared. He didn't want to be rude and stare, but he had never seen anything like this before. Carriage after carriage went past. On each one was a different animal. Horses, dogs, cats, giraffes, monkeys, tigers, lions, and zebras. Then on the next carriage there were some people. None like Huffy Puffy had ever seen. These people were dressed in clothes that seemed too big to fit them. They had hats on with flowers coming out of them and big red noses. Bill called Huffy Puffy. What is all this? Who are those strange-looking people, and why are those animals on the train?" "It's a circus, Huffy Puffy," answered Bill. What's a circus?" asked Huffy Puffy, a little confused. "A circus," explained Bill, "is a whole lot of fun. The animals all do tricks, and the clowns, the ones in the funny hats and shoes, are so funny. Other people do amazing tricks on really high swings. Jugglers, dancers, and lots of music. It's amazing, really," Bill went on. As Huffy Puffy watched, he saw a large man in a smart black jacket that had long tails at the back, and he was wearing a top hat. He had a large moustache and carried a stick. "That's the ringmaster," said Bill. "He's the boss of the circus." And over here we have some of the carriages that Grumpy McGrump was pulling. You can see the lion and the elephant on the carriage there. That's just two of lots and lots of carriages being pulled by Grumpy McGrump. "Ooh," said Huffy Puffy. "Can we go, please?" "I don't think so," replied Bill, a little sad. "It's for people and children, not really for trains. So, sorry, Huffy Puffy," said Bill in a low voice. "You can't go." "Oh," said Huffy Puffy again. "Not for trains then, eh?" Huffy Puffy wasn't sure what to feel. He wondered why trains weren't allowed. He had lots of people friends, and they liked him, called him a hero and everything. He really wasn't sure why he wasn't allowed to go to the circus. It sounded like a lot of fun. A single tear ran down Huffy Puffy's cheek. He so wanted to go to the circus. He had never been to one, and he was sure it was going to be amazing. The rest of the day passed slowly. Huffy Puffy couldn't stop thinking about the circus and what it might be like to go. He knew he couldn't go. Bill had said trains weren't allowed. The next thing, the mums and dads and the children were starting to arrive at the station for the journey home. The children were all chatting excitedly and laughing about something. It didn't take Huffy Puffy long to work out what it was. They were all clutching pieces of brightly coloured paper with the word "Circus" printed on them in red, and pictures of animals and clowns. They were all going to the circus. Huffy Puffy smiled as best he could, and when everyone was safely seated, set off for home. Just as they were going up the hill towards the station, Huffy Puffy saw Grumpy McGrump. He was parked on the tracks, standing quite still. He looked very worried. As Huffy Puffy drew nearer, he could hear the ringmaster yelling. "What am I supposed to do now?" he was shouting. "I have a show to put on tonight, and this train is broken down." His face was quite red. He was very angry. Grumpy McGrump's driver was looking worried as well. "So sorry, Mr. Ringmaster, sir," he was whimpering. I don't know what happened." "Well, how am I supposed to get the carriages and all the tents and animals and people to the town for the circus tonight?" the ringmaster bellowed, his face turning even redder. I don't really know, sir." Grumpy McGrump's driver was almost in tears. Just as the ringmaster was about to yell even louder, Huffy Puffy said in a calm voice, "Maybe I can help." The ringmaster spun round, looked at Huffy Puffy, and gave a loud laugh. "You," he said, "a tiny train like you, pull all these carriages?" "Don't make me laugh," said the ringmaster rather unkindly. "Well, I don't think there's anyone else," said Huffy Puffy, a little annoyed now at how rude the ringmaster was being. "So if you want my help, just say so." The ringmaster swallowed once or twice, calmed down, and said, "Well, thank you. It's Huffy Puffy," said Bill, sounding very important. "Yes, of course," said the ringmaster. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Huffy Puffy. Please, will you help us?" Huffy Puffy dropped the children and the mums and dads at the station and returned to where Grumpy McGrump was waiting. All the mums and dads and the children came down to watch. He connected the circus carriages and called to Bill. "I'm ready, Bill." "Are you sure?" asked Bill, a little worried. "There are a lot of carriages, and they will be really heavy." "Let me try," said Huffy Puffy. "Lots of steam, please, Bill." Bill turned up the steam as high as he could, and Huffy Puffy huffed and puffed as hard as he could. The carriages didn't move. He tried again, even harder this time. Nothing. Just then, Huffy Puffy heard a low, gruff voice. It was Grumpy McGrump. "Come on, little train," he said. "You can do it. I know you can. Come on." Huffy Puffy pulled as hard as he could, using all his steam and pushing with all his wheels and with all his might. Ever so slowly the carriages began to move. Everyone cheered and yelled in excitement. There was going to be a circus tonight, after all. Later that evening, the ringmaster was standing in the middle of the circus ring, welcoming everyone to the circus. "We have a guest of honor with us tonight," he said in a loud voice. "A hero, Mr. Huffy Puffy." The entire audience and all of the circus people and even the animals roared Huffy Puffy's name over and over what seemed a long time. Huffy Puffy just smiled and smiled and smiled. Even Grumpy McGrump gave a huge blast on his whistle and was yelling Huffy Puffy's name. Yes, Huffy Puffy was at the circus. He could hardly believe it. The ringmaster had invited him personally, and Huffy Puffy was beyond excited. Later that night, once the circus was finished and Bill was tucking Huffy Puffy into his big, soft, red blanket, he said to Huffy Puffy, "You know, Huffy Puffy, you really are a hero." Huffy Puffy just smiled. That's the end of that story. I hope you enjoyed that, guys.